Welcome back to Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Last time we completed the first two levels in the second warp room as well as one in the secret one. That yellow gem is still taunting me, but don't worry, we'll get that soon enough. This time we're going to Hog Ride, the first motorbike level in this game, which were, I guess, kind of promoted with this game because that's what you see on the box art. But anyway, the way these levels work is that they're races, and you have to come first to get the crystal. I'm going to attempt to get the box gem and the crystal in the same run, although, don't entirely hold me to that, it may not work. But I thought for once, let's see what happens when Coco gets rejected by a level portal. So there is a starting boost you can do in these levels, and I did not get it there. But anyway, we have to race these lab assistants in these big blocky cars that love to get right in your way and block you. There are only 13 boxes in this level, but you can't really backtrack for any of them, and the lab assistants love to... Okay, yeah, I'm going to break immediately off of that so that I don't go out of control. The lab assistants love to knock you all over the place away from boxes, and it's kind of annoying. The best way to get the box gems on these levels, I find, is to actually intentionally lose the race and let everyone get a mile head start of you, because that way you have no interruptions when going for the boxes. But if you're challenging yourself to try and win the race while getting all the boxes... Okay, we actually have all 13 now. So we've got a couple of cars to get ahead of. These boost pads, it's incredibly hard to control yourself on these things, which makes the time trial insanely painful as, Oh, did I seriously just... Wow, okay, that was a photo finish, that was great. Yeah, that's a very short level. And because it's so short, the time trial for that level is a massive, massive pain. So, yeah, there are more motorbike levels, but ironically, because they're longer, you actually have more room for error. So, this one is one of the hardest platinum relics in the entire game, because you basically have to get onto one of those boost pads and keep your boost for pretty much the whole level. And yeah, people do say the controls in the Sane Trilogy are a little bit messed up when it comes to the boost in these levels. You really have to hold the turn, like, before you see the turn in order to actually turn properly. Once you get the hang of it, you can kind of get into a bit of a rhythm, but it is definitely, definitely tough. It was pretty tough in the original as well, mind you. So with that, we're going into Tomb Time next, and I may as well use Coco here, because, well, Crash has got most of the screen time in this warp room so far.
G'day, mate. Dingodile's the name, and Uka and Cortex gave me orders to bring the crystal to them during the Ice Ages. So give me the goods and shove off, or I'll roast yous.
And there, we were introduced to our boss for this warp room, Dingodile. Yeah, that guy is basically a walking, talking Australian stereotype, and you might be wondering what I think of him being actually Australian, and my answer is, I love him. It's kind of a, I don't know, I've got a bit of a case of what TV tropes would call Mexicans love Speedy Gonzales. I just find over-the-top Australian accents really hilarious, and yeah, he's not voiced by an actual Australian, he's voiced by Fred Tatascore, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But he plays the Hulk in a lot of Marvel games, as well as Ghost Rider, Bane in many DC games, and is also, I think, Don Corneo in the new Final Fantasy VII, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, there's just, I don't know, something about... When I first played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and I got to Uriah for the first time, I was like, oh, I wish I was doing a blind LP of this game right now, because my reactions to the Australian accents there were great. I was laughing so much throughout that entire segment, but anyway. So this bonus that I'm doing right now, technically speaking, yeah, that's actually a little tricky. You gotta get on top of that box on a stack of 3 before the TNT blows up, otherwise you won't have enough height. This bonus is a bit easier if you come back later though, because speaking of coming back later, we actually didn't need to do this bonus. We cannot get the box gem on this level on the first visit. It's kind of surprising that this is the first level like this that we're encountering. Back in Crash 1 and 2, especially 1, there were many levels where you couldn't get the box gem on your first go. But here, yep, no box gem for us this time. These are a very interesting enemy type. Once you break all of the jars that these monkeys are hiding in, you can then abuse them for Wumpa Fruits. Just like you could with Polar in the warp room of Crash 2. Except in that case, it was just a bunch of lives. So, I haven't fully explained this yet, but the oil in these ancient Egyptian levels is equivalent to ice in Crash Bandicoot 2. We've got a lot of interesting enemies here. Those monkeys for one, we also have those guys pulling the switches. And these patches of light, do not step on them. As you can see there, they make dart traps. So this is pretty much your classic ancient Egyptian trap-filled tomb. I like these levels in concept. They're full of traps and other things like this, although I don't like these slamming doors when doing time trials, because you really have to remember the door cycles. And start level late, but anyway, see that purple gem mural there? We can't get through that without the actual purple gem, so we're going to ignore it for the time being. I could get that Aku Aku mask, but I find it's a little bit risky to jump over that pit just for that one mask and then jump back. So there's a lot of switches in these levels that do various things. These ones extend a platform. You might also notice that some of the exclamation mark boxes in these levels actually activate platforms rather than make boxes appear, so yeah. Again, pretty much your classic trap-filled ancient tomb. These levels actually have kind of funny names in the Japanese version, like this one I think is called like Ancient Tomb Under Construction or something like that. My favorite is the Japanese name for the last of the Egyptian levels, but I'll get to that later. And we also have these flamethrower guys, but you can slide underneath that. And this is around where the purple gem path would drop you out, but we're not doing that. This level does require a little bit of backtracking once you are able to get the box gem, but as you can see here, yeah, there's a whole bunch of boxes that are exclusive to that path. So, nothing for us just yet. That might feel like a bit of an uneventful pass through the level, but next time we'll be covering it a little more thoroughly. And that's our first instance of showing this. You don't get the dance unless you get a gem or a relic. The crystals don't really count. And now that we're on Coco, we can go into Midnight Run without any portal rejections. Oh, they actually named Purah on the loading screen. I think Purah's name was mentioned in the manual of Crash 3 in the original, but otherwise you have to wait until Crash Team Racing to, to find out Purah's name. Hey, Purah still meows. But anyway, I may have to concentrate sometimes in these levels because it's very easy to miss boxes if you're not careful, and to me that's the real threat of these levels. I remember back when I was doing the Crash 2 playthrough, the pole levels would often take me a lot of attempts to get full deathless box gem runs. Though admittedly there were more polar levels in that game, I consider there to be 3.5 polar levels in Crash 2, because I count Unbearable as being the half a polar level. This one is actually the last Purah level in the game, there's only 2 of them. And here I've got to be a little careful because it's quite easy to sail past those boxes. You kind of need to do a bit of a short hop there. And both of those boxes in the air are time freezes in the time trial, so you kind of need to balance both going fast and not just sailing right over both of them, because you will sail over just about everything if you charge jump here. So we have what I like to call the weaving dragons at this point. They kind of go up and down. So sometimes they'll get you when you're in the air, sometimes they'll get you when you're on the ground. This one here, though, is not a weaving dragon. That one definitely is, and I always remember this part of the level for some reason. And actually, it's the last, so that's the end. This one took me a few attempts, but it does go pretty quickly when you get one good clean run. This is another level that's very fun to time trial, though like I said, you can be tricky to get the timing down on some of those in the air boxes. And yeah, that is sadly the last of the Pura levels. Like, admittedly, I wouldn't mind having had more of those, say, in the Secret Warp Room, replacing maybe some of the jet ski or the race levels. I'm sure a lot of people kind of feel that way, but oh well, I still love this game for what it is. Anyway, now that we have all of the crystals in this area, our progress is blocked until we defeat Dingodile.
Right. Now you've gone and done it. Them crystals are mine. Break out the butter. I'm gonna make toast.
So, Dingodile is surrounded by a barrier of icicles. He starts off by shooting flamethrower shots in the air. You can tell where they're going to land by the shadows. And then you'll fire the flamethrower directly ahead. And here you have to lure him into destroying enough of the barrier for you to both get in and get out safely. Because, yeah, that explosion will hurt you. So, yeah, there's a bit of a balance over how much you let him destroy. You can just let him blast one part of the barrier and then just run in, but that might make it a little harder to get out. So, like I said, there's a balance. Although, I believe in the original it was actually possible to jump between the crystals to hit him without even getting to the straight shots phase. I don't know if that's still possible in this version or not. But if it is, I don't think there's any kind of, like, cheat acknowledgement. So here, he actually shoots double shots. Can be kind of easy to lead your shots in this phase, in terms of, like, if you're moving or not moving when he starts firing, but that's the last hit.
You crushed me, mate. No worries. You'll soon be up against much worse.
So, yeah, the penguin has its revenge. Speaking of that penguin, though, according to the trophy/achievements in the Xbox and PlayStation 4 versions of this game, that actually is Penta Penguin from Crash Team Racing. It was a common fan theory until now, but this game confirmed it. So, for beating Dingodile, we get something very, very useful. Double jump. It's basically exactly what it says. This is going to make platforming a lot easier, and if there were levels that you found it difficult to get the box gem on before, you can return with a double jump, and, like I said, it's far easier. And so with that, sadly, no more amazing Australian accents for, this game. But at least you'll be able to hear that whenever you want if you play as Dingodile in Crash Team Racing, and given he's one of the speed characters, you'll probably be seeing a lot of him there. Well, not so much now because they added the agent swap feature, but anyway. So next time, we have a new warp room to go to, but I'll be starting things off by unlocking the next portal in the secret warp room because, let's just say, we need to open the next portal in the secret warp room to get something that will let us 100% the first level in the third warp room. So for the sake of efficiency, I have to go ahead and unlock that now. So I'll see you next time, and for now, enjoy the double jump. We'll be seeing a lot of it from here on. And I guess we can see Coco's version.
Whoa!
Okay, so, there is a starting boost you can do in these race levels. We basically have to beat all of these lab assistants in their vehicles, and they love to move right in front of you and block you. So, there are only 13 boxes here, and those things will give you a big burst of speed. I've already failed because I missed a box. Considering how fast Purr is in these levels, you'd think that he'd be a speed character in that, but no, he's a turning character. I mean, there's a lot that I could say about the different classes of characters in Crash Team Racing, but for now I'm going to have to concentrate, because these levels, yeah, they can be kind of bad if you're not concentrating. Did I just miss one of those? I think I just missed one of those. That's a shame. It's kind of funny how, to me, missing boxes in these levels is the real threat, rather than actually hitting any of the enemies or obstacles. Like that. That's actually a pretty cool animation, though. There we go. I mistook the dash and the jump buttons. Normally I do it in the other direction. That's actually how I got my first failure in, finding... I was about to say finding just the right amount of speed to, get those boxes, in the air is tricky. Okay, so yeah, here... Oh, finding just the right height to get both of those boxes is kind of tricky. And yeah, here we have the weaving dragons, as I like to call them. They, yeah, they weave like that, so sometimes they hit you when you're on the ground, sometimes they hit you when you're in the air. And sometimes they just hit you in general. You can get in after only like one burst or so. I don't know if you can jump between them in this version or not.